So 40% or more of your daily behavior runs on autopilot. Most people think they're making conscious choices, decisions, and actions every single moment of every single day. In reality, it's much less than you think. In reality, most of our day is rehearsed, practiced, autopilot, repetitive. It's like we go on in neutral and we're just coasting through the day. Think about a time that you've driven somewhere and maybe paused and thought, wait, did I stop at every stoplight and every stop sign? Did I pay attention to all the rules of the road? Did that ever happen to you? It's autopilot. That's what we go, our brain will go into autopilot. We'll cruise through some of the actions and behaviors that we do that's been repeated so many times that it becomes autopilot. Think about a time that you've been in a waiting room or maybe waiting for a flight or standing in a long grocery line. Hopefully not at a red light, but you reach for your phone automatically because there's this lull, this quiet moment, this silence. What do? We reach for our phone to fill that void. Google something, look up something, scroll, right? How many times have you reached for your phone automatically? I have clients that have hired me for a variety of reasons and have told me, oh, I'm going to slow down on the usage of my phone, for instance. Let's just word it like that. I want to decompress from my phone, or I want to limit my phone to just using it for a phone. No scrolling, no nothing for 30 days or a week or a month or whatever their goal is. And they're really shocked at how many times they automatically reach for their phone and catch themselves. One of the other things that I've talked about in a coaching session is, what if you were to move all your silverware in your kitchen? You know, everybody's got a silverware drawer, right? All the forks, the spoons, the knives in one drawer, typically in most households. What if you were to move everything out of that drawer and move it to the most inconvenient drawer in the house? How long is it going to take you to remember, right, in the flow of breakfast, lunch, and dinner, to remember that the silverware now moved to a very different location? How many times you're going to automatically grab for that familiar drawer before you remember, oh yeah, I moved it? Okay, autopilot. What about, have you ever had a situation where you said something or reacted in a certain way and later, afterwards, days, weeks, minutes, moments, hours later, go, whoa, why did I do that? Why did I say that? Why did I react in that way? Autopilot. So the brain doesn't repeat what's best for us. It repeats what's been practiced, what's been rehearsed, what's been proven as safe for the human, that's kept you alive. So it repeats what's been practiced, what's been conditioned, what's been programmed, what's been modeled to you, that's been acceptable in your mind. Okay, so notice my language. What's acceptable in your mind, what you think and believe is appropriate. So the brain operates from efficiency. It doesn't care if you're happy, you're sexy, you're in love. It doesn't care if you're got $1 million in the bank account. It doesn't care if you have 1 million likes. It works from efficiency. Your brain wants efficiency, which conserves energy, and it wants to keep you safe, wants to keep you alive. So it automates as much of your day as possible. It repeats patterns and behaviors. It loves thinking patterns. It loves behavioral loops. It loves more, whatever it can do to make more of your day familiar, it categorizes that as safe. So your thoughts become your habits. Habits turn into your identity and your worldview. Your identity is what you believe you are who you are. It becomes a permanent belief of yourself. Oftentimes I would consider those to be labels and very limiting. Your brain's job is not to improve your life. It just wants to conserve energy. It just wants to keep you safe and alive. That's it. Repetition is what becomes your habits. It becomes wiring. It becomes your default. It becomes your autopilot. And it starts to feel like who you are. For instance, if you stay up every night, this is what I used to do. I used to stay up. I used to fight my sleep, fight it, because I knew that if I fought my sleep, my natural body telling me it's time to go to sleep, if I fought it, I knew that there was going to be this second wind. I'd feel this energy late at night and I get more done, or it's my time to do whatever I want. Right. So that pattern, I created that because I loved it. I enjoyed it. I looked forward to it. But as a result, I got less and less and less sleep, and I was operating on more and more and more caffeine, which created a unhealthy habit. But that identity, I'm a night owl, I adopted that. I was like, slap that on my forehead. I'm a night owl. And I thought that that was an honor. I get so much done at night. At what cost? Zombie, right? During the day, I was a total zombie. But look at what things are automated in your world, in your days, in your weeks, in your months. Look at what you're repeating in your morning routine, you're driving, you're brushing your teeth, how you do things, right? So for me, one that I was noticing the other day is I'm right-handed. So raking, pine cones, pine needles, leaves, automatic, right. I have to consciously stop and pause and use my left hand. Challenge myself to consciously choose to operate from the opposite side. Same with snow shoveling. I am consciously aware of repeating, going back and forth, left to right. Now I know that the left side is clunkier. I have to think harder. It's a little clunky getting started, but I get the rhythm and my brain will work for me. So maybe try that tonight. Brush with your left hand, see how that goes. Let me know. But checking notifications, what are, is that a pattern or a habit? Right? I have all mine off. I don't like disruption. I like to focus on one thing at a time. I find that notifications is a huge distraction to my thought patterns and loops. It breaks my concentration. So to me, I have no notifications. I think that works for me. Notice how your stress response is, meaning how do you respond to notifications or a text message or a phone call when you're really trying to focus on something, when you're really in the creative mind or working on a project or something that maybe has a deadline and you're really, really in it, or maybe you're studying. What is your stress response? What is your automatic response to an interruption that's unwelcomed? What are your automatic reactions in relationships? What are your automatic relationship responses when someone gives you criticism, feedback, disappoints you, doesn't show up, says things that might be dismissive or defensive? What is your response? How are you responding? Those are all autopilots, right? Those are automatic. Those are programmed. Those are conditions. Those are things that you've demonstrated yourself or have been demonstrated to you, that have been modeled. So your biggest habits aren't what you do. They're how you think. It all starts with how you think. We are all emotional beings. We think, we feel, we do. Think, feel, do. Think, feel, do millions of times a day. Think, feel, do. Think, feel, do. You wouldn't be watching this without having a thought, a feeling, and then doing something. Period. Simple, simple, simple. So let's say someone criticizes you. What's your pattern? What's your automatic thought when someone criticizes you, gives you criticism, feedback, constructive criticism, whatever you want to call it, is your first thought, they don't respect me, I wouldn't do that, how dare they, and defend yourself, point the finger and blame them, yell at them, scream at them, shut down, run, avoid, ghost? What's your automatic response? Some people lean in. Oh, say more about that. Tell me more. What is it that I do? Help me understand. Help me learn. What is it you're observing me do, say, or behave? I want to learn from this. I want to grow from this. I want to see what you're seeing. I want to understand how I can show up better. I want to see it from your perspective. Okay. So that's the same situation, different conversation, different emotional experience, and a totally different outcome. Now, it's not saying that the feedback, the criticism is condoned or real or true. I believe that there's 2% or more truth in anything that's given to you as feedback or constructive criticism. It's looking for the 2% truth and being willing to go, hey, that could be true. I could see how you would see it that way. I could see how that would look that way. But I would seek to understand first and foremost and ask permission to provide my truest intention if they're willing to hear it. And they might not be, and that's okay. So the situation isn't running your life. The patterns that you've created and developed throughout your lifetime is what you're feeling, what you're experiencing. So when we blame people, places, things, situations, and circumstances at work, our partners, our spouses, our people we're in a relationship with, our relationship to money, traffic, how people are driving around us, politics, childhood, whatever we blame, point our finger and blame outward for how we feel really leaves us feeling hopeless, out of control, feeling disempowered, and we don't grow from that place. We don't learn from that place at all. We're giving away the remote control to our feelings. Okay, so that what outside of us is happening in the world has nothing to do with us. It's our interpretation. The pattern is everything to do with our own perspective and our own interpretation. So everybody's reaction is in accordance with their patterns, not the environment. So it's inside out, not outside in. Okay, so the scenery certainly changes, but the pattern doesn't. I've seen this in myself, but I also see it a lot in clients. Like I've had clients come to me and like, man, I've been married and divorced 4 times. All my exes said the same thing. So I guess it must be me. Or I've seen people that every job I go to, everybody micromanages me. What's the pattern here? What's the common denominator? So how we think, feel, and behave co-creates everything, every relationship. So how you think and feel about money creates your relationship to money. How you think and feel about having someone in your life that you share a life with, how you think about that person and feel about that person, real or imaginary, you're creating that relationship with that person. They also think and feel their own way. So it's co-created. The situation is a whole nother thing, right? So you have 2 different individuals with 2 totally different emotional experiences. And then there's a third, which is the facts of the situation. So these are 2 emotional beings that are operating in this relationship from how they think and feel separately, 2 totally different realities. And then there's the facts, the truth, what can be taken to court and ruled as good, bad, right, wrong, better, worse, law breaking or not law breaking. But anyways, the situation is not what creates your feelings or your experience. It has an influence on it. Yes, would agree on that. A habit loop or a pattern or the automatic, as this blog is about, doesn't ask permission. It just simply runs on automatic, right? We have created beliefs, thoughts, patterns, all the same thing from our life's experience. What we've witnessed, what we've been conditioned, what we've been programmed, what we've heard over and over and over again. And like, oh, that must be true. That's what creates the loop. What's been modeled to us in our world. And sometimes what's been modeled can influence us in the opposite, right? So if we're perhaps had a childhood where things went a certain way, that might have been the model, what was modeled to you. And maybe what you've decided is, I'm going to do something totally different. I'm going to do the opposite. So just because what you've witnessed and experienced in your life doesn't automatically mean that that's how you're going to be. You could consciously choose a different way of being. But the habit loop is simply running, right? So we have any situation that you experience throughout any day, any week, any month is a situation. It's just factual, right? Tuesday at 3 p.m., you're in a room with 8 other people, whatever. It's super factual. 12 jurors would agree that those are the facts. Now, each of the individuals in the room are having thoughts about what's going on in that room. Or maybe not even what is in the room, whatever's going on in their imagination. There's thoughts, there's an emotional experience with each of those individuals in the room, which generates a feeling by what they think and believe, whatever they become attached to, whatever the story is, the story that feels real and true for them. Then there's a response or a reaction or a behavior. So in this room with a bunch of people, it might be, there'll be people that'll be really shy and they'll have body language of don't talk to me, hiding behind the podium or hiding in the back of the room. Or there'll be people that are thinking and feeling like, I'm so excited to be here. I can't wait to meet everybody. And they have this openness, this vibe, this aura that I'm out here and I'm here to learn. I'm here to absorb. I'm here to serve or help, whatever the issue is. Their body language will reflect it. Their behaviors will reflect it. And what gets reinforced is what's repeated, right? So if you have a great time, an amazing time, you're going to want to come back, or you're going to want to say yes to other events or other spaces that have that same similar environment, people type of thing, right? So a lot of people will join groups or communities or organizations because they've had great experiences. Or maybe it's something new and they just want to experiment and get out of their comfort zone and try something new. But what is repeated becomes familiar. What is repeated has a good feeling, and the brain loves what's repeated. The brain loves automatic. The brain goes, this is safe. We lived through this once before. We'll live through this again. It'll pull you towards it. But if you fear that space with all those rooms because you had a bad experience, you felt judged, criticized, looked at, looked down upon, likely you're going to say no next time. So it's automatic. Okay, so relief, what feels good or what feels familiar, what feels relief or what's safe, the brain will want to repeat. So that's why scrolling is the automatic reliever, right? We numb out, we look for that next funny thing or that aha or that insight or that relatable comment, something that gives us that hit of enjoyment or entertainment. That's why so whatever the enjoyment is experienced through one of our senses. So food, taste is one of our senses. Food is a very soothing, regulating thing, if you will, right? Though there are exceptions. Some people don't like food, they don't like texture, they don't like cooking, they don't like cleaning, they don't like the mess, they don't like smells, they don't like texture. I've run into people like that food is not their priority. They eat for fuel and that's it. I've been around people like that. And I can get in that headspace if I want to, but I love food. Anyways, avoidance works really well too for a lot of people, right? Again, avoiding that room or avoiding conflict or avoiding being center of attention. There's pleasure. There's a good feeling that comes from that avoidance. And what we avoid, each time we avoid, our comfort zone gets smaller and smaller and smaller until we're literally hiding in our bedroom. But this is why people shut down too in conflict, because they fear what could possibly happen in that conflict. They fear what the other person is going to say. They fear what the outcome is going to be. They fear whatever their mind creates. People avoid, people shut down, people please, or plead, please, I'll change, I'll be different, all this, whatever. The brain sees any of these patterns as coping strategies or ways to stay safe. They're familiar. So if any point in time you avoid something, and in your mind, whether you consciously believe it or non-consciously believe it, that it kept you safe, it kept you out of harm's way, it kept you from risk, it kept you from being judged, criticized, looked down upon, it's a good feeling. It's a relief. So that becomes familiar. That becomes your pattern. That becomes automatic. So you might automatically say no to the next situation that would have you in the firing range. Not solving anything. It's a protection mechanism. So your brain will experience a temporary relief, maybe instant gratification, right? That's a lot of times that quick scroll. We have such, nowadays in this modern world, we have instant gratification a click away, right? We can have 4,000 calories of food delivered at our doorstep. We can, anything we want, we can just get on our phone, boom, boom, click, it's here in a day or two. So many quick hits of joy, pleasure, happiness, if you will, outside of us. That's not where our feelings come from, by the way. That's why addiction is so, it's causing so many problems for so many people. I had a client that I coached yesterday. I haven't talked to her in a couple of years. I haven't coached her in a couple of years. And that's what's happened is she's scrolling, she's finding herself scrolling a lot. I don't know why I'm doing this and not doing this other thing that I should be doing. It's so hard. I don't want to do that thing. I want to scroll. Well, you can tell by the language that this is more fun, this is more joy, this is more pleasurable, but that's not where your feelings come from. You think it is by scrolling. Your feelings don't come in the phone. So there's a misalignment there. So anyways, I coached her through that and we'll find out next week how that goes. But patterns oftentimes don't feel like patterns. Like I know that I didn't think of my daily routines as patterns. Like I would have never thought that. I would have never put language around it like that, but that's what it is. A lot of times people just believe that's just how I am. I am a night owl, or I'm a morning person, or I am a gym goer, or I am an anxious person, or I am an overthinker, I am an overanalyzer. Well, that reinforces that pattern, that keeps you locked into that box. You're not able to see, well, there's another way of being, there's another way of thinking, there's another way of experiencing your morning, your night, your gym, your whatever, your relationships. When we when we believe it's our personality and this is just who I am and how I am, you're locked in a cage. You're in your own way. And that's where suffering begins. When you're getting in your own way. So by saying I am an anxious person, you're identifying with it. No, you're having thoughts that feel anxious. How do you want to feel? Do you want to feel confident, self-confident? Do you want to feel courageous? Do you want to feel brave? Do you want to feel empowered? Do you want to feel strong? Do you want to feel mighty? Do you want to feel humble? How do you want to feel? When we keep using words and language to lock us into a pattern, a belief, a thought loop, it keeps us stuck in that. We don't grow, we don't evolve, it stunts us. Our emotional intelligence stays right there. It's a cage, it's a ceiling. If you believe I am just defensive, it's because of my past. It's because of all the things that have happened to me. I am just defensive. I defend myself. People shouldn't talk to me the way they do. Okay, so now you want to control everybody? You want everybody to talk to you the way that you would talk to them? That's control. Stay in your own lane. Work on your own self. Stay in your own business. Saying I'm bad at relationships, well, that's going to feed the pattern. That's going to reinforce it by your brain. Going to go, okay, let's find proof and evidence of that. Your brain does not care if you're happy or in love. Doesn't care if you're in a relationship or not. It doesn't see it as a necessity to keep you alive. One of the other most dangerous words is I can't. I guarantee you, if you use those words, you won't. Another set of words that I hear quite a bit is, oh, I've always been this way. Okay. That'll keep you locked in. You won't see things from a different light. You won't see an alternative perspective. You're locked into, this is just how I am. That's very limiting. No growth is going to happen. We are what we practice. And when we have relief, joy, safety, real or imagined, as a result of a thinking pattern, it keeps us locked in, keeps us there, keeps us small, keeps us wrapped in bubble wrap, keeps us guarded, keeps us protected, keeps us walled off. So what we practice on repeat, autopilot, becomes natural, starts to feel comforting, feels natural. It feels like who we are. But that doesn't make it permanent unless you think it is, right? If that becomes your worldview, oh, all men are narcissists or all women are narcissists, whatever it is that you're saying and absorbing from social media and barfing up to everybody, well, that's what you're going to experience. That's what you're going to attract. Strange. It's a very odd paradox, but it's true. So what you practice becomes your limitations. Think about all the different things that you've learned throughout your lifetime, how, again, kind of moving the silverware from that drawer, especially if you've lived in a house for many years and you move your silverware around, how long it takes you to unlearn that it's not in that drawer, it's in this drawer way over here. Why did I do this to myself? It's an experiment. It's actually kind of fun. I've done it unintentionally because when we moved into this house 2.5 years ago, I wasn't sure where to put the silverware and I kept moving it around. And now actually I have 2 drawers of silverware. Odd, I know, but if you understood the design of our house, you would go, oh, that kind of makes sense, kinda. But think about learning how to drive stick shift. If you know how to drive stick shift. Interestingly enough, I learned how to drive when I was probably 16, 17. And I had a vehicle that was stick shift, two vehicles that were stick shift, and very brief period of time, like one summer, two different vehicles, one in the summer and one in the fall, and both of them I got rid of. They weren't really appropriate vehicles for me, but I was young and dumb and silly and wanted that vehicle because it was so fun to drive in the summer, not in the winter, not practical. I learned that the hard way. But I didn't drive stick shift for probably 15 years, and I bought a stick shift car. And it was interesting how even after 15 years, it was like, took a little bit of conscious awareness, but now it's just automatic. I love it. Learning to type. Remember when learning to type, how long at least took, I felt like it took unusually long for me to learn how to type. It's okay. Riding a bike, same thing. I don't really remember learning how to ride a bike, but I use it as a metaphor a lot in my work because it makes sense. There is a lot to think about when you ride a bike for the first time. I figured that out with my daughters, teaching them how to ride a bike. There's so much that you have to articulate and say that we kind of just know, like it just logically makes sense. Like you got to balance, there's so much to it, but you don't realize it because you've done so much of it on autopilot. Everything feels wobbly and awkward at first, but be willing to be in the messy, be willing to be wobbly when you're wanting to make more conscious decisions, respond instead of react to people that you work with or relationships or people that you love or care about, right? Back to the whole reacting to somebody really quickly. Why am I doing that? Where is that coming from? If you're wanting to do things differently and unlearn that hot-tempered reaction, it's learning to go in the messy and learn a different way. Coming off of autopilot, coming away from the automatic reaction and learning how to do things differently from a healthier way that likely is going to have a better outcome. Most people aren't trapped by their life. They're trapped by their automatic patterns. Most people are trapped by their automatic patterns, the patterns that they've repeated so many times that they're unaware that they're repeating them. Just like today, I had a consultation. This is very common. I have consultations every week with new potential clients to see if they're coachable. And what's interesting is the one I had today, their language, they would say, I feel this way currently, and I want to feel that way, but with everything. So it was very conflicted. I would ask them, it was one part of it was about career. What do you want with your job, your career? What is it that you're aspiring for? Now, notice how I set the sentence up. What are you aspiring for? What are you wanting out of this career? What's fulfilling? What's meaningful? I think is all language that I use. And they're like, oh, well, to me, it's something I've always wanted to do. I have worked really hard to get here. I got the degree. I worked to these certain levels, but I don't want to be stuck in this job. I don't want to be stressed out. I don't want to be told what to do. I don't want to be pushed around. I don't want to be, it was like, I want this, but I don't want that. Notice that's conflicting language. Well, what is it that you want? That was the question. What do you aspire? What's fulfilling? What's meaningful? When we use language that says what we want, but then what we don't want, our brain gets confused. Our brain gets very confused. So it's really about teaching language and teaching yourself to think and articulate about everything and what's empowering. What do you want more of? How are you learning? How are you growing? Who are you being? What are you proud of yourself, of your accomplishments today, or maybe even in this last hour or this week or this month or this year or this decade? What are you proud of? How are you growing? What are you wanting more of? What are you wanting more out of this career? Stay and answer that question without talking about what you don't want. So our patterns really can clear up and make make a lot of sense of why people feel trapped, confused, conflicted, lost. It's because their language is repetitively, I want this, but I don't want that. I want this, but I don't want that. Our brain is like an algorithm. You want to feed it one thing forward, momentum, what you're wanting, focus in on what you're wanting more of. So if you think of every conflict, any heated discussion as a disagreement, right? If you feel in your body a tightening, a tension, a heat, a clenching down, whenever thinking about having to have a tough conversation with someone, you're automatically setting yourself up to be defensive. Okay, so same with like the career thing. If you're thinking, I don't want to be micromanaged, I don't want it to be hard, I don't want it to be difficult, I don't want people bossing me around, well, you're pretty much training your brain to look for that. Same with a disagreement or a conflict or a conversation that might be on a topic that you know is going to be difficult to navigate. If you're believing that this is going to create tension, conflict, you're automatically going to go into it on the defense. You're going to look for reasons to be defensive. You're going to come at it from an angle of, I want to be right in the end. You're going to come at that conversation with an agenda. You're going to make assumptions that might not be true. Okay, so assumptions are from the imagination. Assumptions are not fact. You're going to highlight in your mind where there's discrepancies or mistakes. You might criticize the other person, or you might even criticize yourself. So you're operating from fear and insecurity and uncertainty. And a lot of times that'll create that overthinking, that pros and cons, white and black, good, bad, right, wrong, who's better, who's worse. It's a lot of thinking. That's what I experience a lot with my brand new clients. Like, there's a lot of thinking going on here, what I call a busy mind. What about if we just slow down and access a quiet mind? What would that look like? The more aware of places in your day that you're on autopilot and you have this awareness about it, maybe not necessarily wanting to change it, like brushing your teeth. I think that's perfectly fine to be on autopilot. Raking leaves, perfectly fine, as long as you're not doing it for hours. Because if you're doing it for hours on one side of your body, you're probably going to have some sort of soreness, maybe even an injury at a certain point, or an over dominant side, an imbalance in your body. But if you really start to go, where am I on autopilot? Where am I creating heartache, frustration, stress, tension, anxiety, worry in my day? And am I on autopilot? Am I doing things repetitively, unknowingly, innocently? Think about the other people too. Maybe it's not just you, but maybe there's somebody you care about in your life that you spend a lot of time with, and they're on autopilot, unknowingly creating some sort of experience in your co-created relationship, whatever that relationship is. Just notice without judgment, notice with childlike curiosity, observe, witness, go, wow, that's fascinating. Look at that pattern. Look at me go, or look at them go. Look at how we're defaulting. We're just all on autopilot 40% or more of our day. But become curious. I love childlike 7-year-old curiosity. It really slows things down when we kind of go, whoa, look at that. Look at that pattern. Look at how their brain's working. Look at how they're navigating in this way. Not with judgment, not with wanting to change things or force things or control things. Curiosity, hard stop. We don't have the ability to grow, evolve, adapt, change, learn, grow from things that we're unaware of. So when we're aware of patterns that create stress, anxiety, worry, conflict, things like that in our life, when we're more aware of a pattern that's creating this dynamic, we take back power. We have choice. We can make different choices. We can soften our inner world a little bit to see things from a different vantage point and choose differently. Oftentimes it does require slowing down. There's not any choice when we're reacting to people, situations, circumstances, right? Reaction is usually automatic, quick, fast. But in a pause, just even a tiny pause and go, whoa, look at this, look at me go, or look at them go. That's where we can take self-leadership and try something different, experiment in a different way, say something different, think something different, interpret something differently. Leading yourself through that situation, through that conversation differently. Who am I being right now? How do I want to feel right now? Or how do I want to feel before, during, and after? What would it be like to be proud of myself tonight when I lay my head down on the pillow, seeing that I dealt with that thing differently? I disrupted this pattern. A lot of times it's assumed that we need better reactions to things. No, you just need deeper self-conscious awareness. More awareness, more witnessing, more understanding of how we think, we feel, and we do. The earlier you notice that pattern, oh, look at my thoughts. They are lighting up right now, right? So a strong feeling means you're having strong thoughts. You're have strong convicted thoughts about something. What is the story that's generating this feeling? What thoughts are automatically happening? Because if you think about it, our thoughts are from our past. Everything you're thinking is from the past. It's, of course, trying to predict your future based off of past experiences. But what you're thinking in the moment, you're in creating the feeling is what you're believing in the moment about the person, the place, the situation, the circumstance, the thing. I mean, I always think about it too, is, remember like buying a car, right? Just saying that just a little bit ago. Buying any new car, it's new to you. It doesn't even have to be new, brand new, no owners, but a new car to you. It's so exciting. It's so, I love this car. But then when you sell it, you're like, it's just a piece of junk. I don't want to get rid of it. I can't wait till it's gone. Please, somebody take it. And that next person is like, so excited. I can't wait to have this project car or whatever. It's all in how we think about the car. What you automatically think is what you are going to experience. So your reaction is purely based on what you think and you feel. So if you don't like a reaction that you have in some area of your life, look at what's automatically happening. Look at your patterns. Now, this is nowhere in this I'm saying to control your thoughts. Nowhere have I ever said that. You'll not hear me say that. It's not in any of my work. So trying to control your thoughts is surely going to backfire. So nowhere am I going to say to control your thoughts. Nowhere am I ever going to tell you to chant or do affirmations. Nowhere am I going to tell you to force yourself to think a certain way, or ever am I going to tell you to fix yourself. Don't say any of those things, because all of those will backfire. That is all autopilot wearing different clothes. That will send your mind or your ego into overdrive. It'll work harder and be stronger and create more tension, friction, conflict in your life, more heaviness. So the goal is not to become a different person. The goal is to stop living automatically, to see your patterns and to disrupt that pattern and create new patterns. We're actually very adaptable. Human beings are very adaptable. If you're willing, open-minded, open-hearted, have determination, and consistently and repetitively change your patterns, how you think, how you feel, what you believe, repeat it over and over again. Who am I being? How do I want to feel? So the life that you want, you dream of, is truly created one choice, one decision at a time. It's by rewiring what your automatic default is. So it's one conversation, one pause, one new response, one new decision, one new choice. Repeated enough, it will create a new way of being. So who's in charge of your life right now? Or are you on autopilot? What percentage of autopilot do you believe that you're on right now? So how much of your day are you on autopilot, just motorboating through your day? How much of it? What reaction, not response, reaction is hot, fast, flash, you just take action. What reaction have you practiced so many times that you've now called it your personality? I have a hot temper, or I'm an angry person, or I am an overthinker, or I'm an overanalyzer, or I am anxious. They usually start with an I am. So you can't lead a fulfilling, meaningful, powerful life when you're on autopilot. You won't grow, you won't evolve, you won't strengthen yourself, you won't develop new skills, you won't see life's full color when you're on autopilot. You're in the comfort zone. You're in the bubble of comfort. That's what us human beings will default. Our world will get smaller and smaller and smaller, and we'll start saying no to everything. And we'll hide in our house and scroll on our phones. That's not where we grow. That's not where we evolve. That's not where life is pretty and beautiful and amazing. And that's not where we create memories and laughter and enjoyment. So the moment you see your patterns and disrupt those patterns, and no longer being controlled by them and choosing how you want to lead your life, you're at the wheel of your life. You're in the driver's seat. So what are you repeating most? What thoughts, feelings, reactions are you repeating most? And what emotions or reactions are showing up instantaneously that you'd like to improve upon or do differently? What's a story that you've been believing so long that you've identified with it? And last question, what's a habit that you've been mistaken as a personality, right? You got that label on your forehead. I'm a night owl. And it's creating maybe some destruction in your life, maybe to your health, maybe to your relationships. I see that a lot in coaching lately, is that a lot of spouses are roommates on their phones. Intimacy, connection, all of it's gone. Anyways, until next time, talk to you guys soon. Bye.